Welcome. You're listening to Nuditea, a podcast where we get naked with our feelings. I'm Kimberly. I am once again solo. Wendy is visiting her boyfriend. If you listened to the last episode, she definitely needed to go see him after their long-distance relationship. But on this podcast, we talk about things like food, sex, travel, general adult topics. Today, though, I'm not completely alone. I do have my friend and guest, Daniel, here.
Hello, it's Daniel.
Do you want to talk about yourself a little bit?
Sure. Well, my name's Daniel. So I think today we're going to be talking about Disney,
Yes.
which is why I'm here with Kimberly. I just called you Kimberly. I never called you Kimberly.
You never I introduced myself as Kimberly.
Yeah, that's
it's
why
probably
I think
because
I
you
said
heard
it.
it. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think I'm here because I kind of have a little bit of a love for Disney. I have a special Instagram account called @Disney_Dan, so I'm going to plug that if that's okay.
That's good. I don't even follow that.
Yeah.
I feel like I should.
And I used to work for Disney, so I'm excited
For
about
a couple
this.
summers.
For a couple summers, yeah.
Cool. We can talk about that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We will start, though, as we always do, with what tea we're drinking.
Yes.
You want to start, Dan?
Sure, yeah. Today I'm having wild apple and cinnamon. I haven't even tasted it yet. Yes, that's good, and it feels really comforting on this rainy day.
Yeah. So gloomy. And I'm drinking Serenity now. As many of you know, I own none of the teas. And I haven't even tasted mine. Well, this is riveting stuff. So hot. Basically, it's got like a bunch of currant and spearmint and kind of strawberry. I don't really taste it. It's pretty good. I don't know. It's tea.
It's tea.
It's hot leaf juice. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna talk about Disney. You excited?
Yeah.
Dan is definitely the person who knows the most about Disney that I've ever.
I'm a little bit nervous.
Because you're the expert and you're afraid you're gonna.
Well,
mess up,
yeah,
or...
I mean, I definitely have been. I mean, anyone who knows me would say that I'm very obsessed with Disney, but definitely over the last couple of years where I've had to focus my attention on
Not Disney.
I feel like I'm like kind of a little bit away from it right now, but I did just go to Disney World a couple weeks ago, so that kind of helped me get back into my
And your
love for it.
family tries to go like at least once a year.
We do, yeah. That's kind of changed a little bit, but yeah, often we try and go as much as we can. At least me and my sister have gone a lot more recently.
Right. Just kind of feeling like you're missing it a little bit, and so you're like, let's get back into it. Okay, so let's start with, I guess, our feelings on Disney and what impact they've had on our lives. I guess I can start. It's not as deep probably as yours. I think I grew up seeing some of the films, not a whole lot. It was very much, I didn't like have really the toys to go with it.
Right.
I don't know if it was like my parents just making sure I didn't just become like princess obsessed. I don't know if that was like an active thing in their mind. We also only ever had like one Barbie in our house.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't even one of the plastic body ones. It was like the sleepover part, like Barbie. And so she was like just all...
Like plush?
Yeah, it was a little weird.
Okay.
But I don't know, I grew up definitely like loving a lot of the films. I can't say I like watched them over and over again. Disney probably hasn't had a huge impact on my life. I think as I reflect on Disney and like their older films and even some of their newer ones, it more or less just lights a fire of rage sometimes, or just, I don't know, in me a little bit.
Yeah, no,
but
for sure.
We've talked about that before. Dan and I were roommates at one point,
yes,
so we have
that's how we
had
know
like
each other.
kind of this topic before.
Okay, well, yeah, so the interesting thing about my Disney perspective, I guess, is that I grew up going there just because I've had family that has worked there. My grandparents lived in Florida, so this is Disney World, which is why often when people know that I'm obsessed with Disney, they'll ask me about the movies, which I grew up watching for sure, but I found myself more obsessed with the parks and that aspect of it.
Do you feel like it's magic it kind of stirred in you?
Yeah, so often I struggle to talk more about the, classic Disney movies because I'm like, yeah, those are cool, but I'm more obsessed with the design of the parks and those kinds of things. But definitely growing up, we always, were watching the Disney movies, had all sorts of Disney toys, things like that, so those were always there.
Do you think you're more obsessed might not be the right word, but with the newer movies, like you like watching those ones more than maybe you did when you were younger?
I think so, yeah, because it's actually been a while since I've watched a lot of the Disney classics, but I'll always go and see the latest Disney movies or Pixar movies, and yeah, so those, like, for example, my favorite lately was Cars. Like,
3? Or
the
just Cars
first one.
original? Okay.
I don't know. That's just one movie I feel like I can watch over and over for some reason.
No, I get it. How has your view on Disney changed from when you were younger? Is it still kind of the same? Does it still bring the same delight?
I think
As it does?
so, yes.
So my view on Disney maybe has changed in the sense it's not so much just entertainment value, because when you're a kid, it's very much just like, oh, this story is kind of cool, or you relate to it in some way. I think more so now, Disney itself has changed. It is such a big production company.
Mm-hmm.
It's got you know your Marvels, and it has your Pixars now, and so I find that the content is better, and they have tried to maybe diversify and touch on other people's stories. So because I've gotten older and my viewpoints have changed, or I've grown into myself, it is still entertainment, but there's always a message behind it, and I'm always trying to make sure that Disney is kind of living up to that, and they're actually changing instead of this maybe perceived notion of change and stepping forward.
Yeah, I guess the older movies and Disney back when it was kind of just starting the originals, there's obviously a lot of controversy around those topics, which I think we'll talk about. When I was younger, watching those ones, I never thought about those kinds of things. Obviously you aren't aware that
that these things are happening.
Yeah.
Or all the sex stuff that's in there, all the adult humor. When you're a kid, you do not notice those things.
Yeah, or the princesses, all those kinds of things. Never thought about. But as you get older and you learn about feminism or things like that, now I guess that's changed. You're just more aware of the messages in those movies. So maybe just thinking about that more, that's what I would say has changed for me.
Right.
But, I don't necessarily have a negative view on a lot of those things.
Do you have a favorite park down in Disney World? I've been twice. I will say, honestly, Disney World itself is not super interesting to me. I like Universal Studios.
Okay, no, that's totally fair. I love Universal as well. Disney, probably Magic Kingdom, just because it's kind of the classic castle. That's what gets me excited.
Right.
But now that I'm older, Epcot, you can drink there around the world.
You can now?
Yes. Yeah, you always could drink
You could,
Epcot,
but I guess, but
now that I can,
That's true. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, so.
I actually, even as a kid though, I really enjoyed Epcot too. Because I think just the gardens, or you're visiting all the other worlds, but I don't know how close it is to actually the cultures of it. But it's, I don't know, there's something about it.
Yeah, I will just say that they do a really great job. All the people that work at those places are from those places.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they actually kind of, when they were designing the park, Epcot, and all the pavilions based on the countries around them, they consulted people from those countries, architects, things like that. So
okay, good for them. What park is the biggest letdown? If there is one in your mind?
Right now, thinking about Disney World would be Hollywood Studios, which was originally MGM.
Okay.
Depending on when last time you were there. It's kind of a joke right now within the Disney community, or especially in the cast members.
Okay.
So if you work at Disney, you're called a cast member, and that would actually be an interesting episode, all the tea on
on all the guests.
if you work at Disney,
the behind the scenes.
Yeah, the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Anyway, probably Hollywood Studios, because there's so much that has changed. There's so much that has closed down. People call it a half-day park right now. It's kind of ridiculous
that
they're charging you full admission to get in there.
Wow.
But that being said, some really exciting things are coming. The new Star Wars land is going to be opening.
That's where it's going? Okay.
Yeah, so it'll be exciting by the end of the summer.
Yeah. When people aren't going as much. How do you feel about the live-action remakes? And do you wish that Disney would continue to put more money into producing original movies?
That's interesting. This is interesting. I guess I have two feelings about it. I think they're really cool, and I think that maybe because they're kind of remaking some originals, it's getting more people to watch them. People that may not bother to go back and watch some originals, so they're being aware of these stories as well. And they're kind of exciting, to see what technology has become now and what they can do.
What you can do, yeah.
So, I'm excited for, I haven't seen Dumbo yet, but that looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I want to see Dumbo.
And
for sure.
Lion King, great movie.
Lion King, yeah. Here's my thoughts on the remakes, and this isn't a hot take. I'm sure lots of people have had this thought. I'm more interested in seeing things like Dumbo or Christopher Robin's, or even Cinderella, even though it's a really well-known property, and it was one of their biggest movies, obviously starting all the way back. But I find with Cinderella, there's so much more you can do with the story, and they kind of did.
Yeah.
And Lily James was great.
Did you like that one?
I did like that one. And I just feel like when they remake the really well-liked ones, even though I really want to see, like, Mulan.
Yeah.
Like, I really want to see that.
I think they're making that.
They probably are. I wouldn't be surprised. But things like, I liked Beauty and the Beast, and they added some new songs, and you got a little bit more of the perspective of the Beast. But besides that, I'm not sure if there was much change to the story. And they have a really hard job in front of them. They have to, for the loved ones, like with The Lion King and with Aladdin and with The Beauty and the Beast, they're so well loved, people don't really want them changed. But some people only want to see, why do a new take or a live action if you're not going to change anything? So
it's true. That's true.
I'm like, with Dumbo, it's a nothing story. Like, really.
Yeah, see, I honestly don't even remember that story very well. So.
I just know he flies with his big ears. That's all I really know. And, like, The Jungle Book, a very, like, nothing. Like, there's so much more you can put to and structure it story-wise that I think taking those properties are really good for live action. But I almost wish they could, you know, just put more time and effort on making new stories, new characters. But obviously that is a risk money-wise, and it's really easy, I think, to make the remakes in the sense of they know the fan base is already there. So.
Right. No, I agree. And, I mean, look what happened when they did Frozen. Like, that was very popular. Yeah. And that was totally
that sequel
a new thing. So
make all the money.
Yeah, they definitely need to do a mix, because now that it's this crazy thing of all these remakes coming out, I think I saw...
Isn't there, like, 4 coming out in, like, half a year?
Yeah, like, there's I mean, I don't know how much of this stuff is true. I haven't looked into it, but I've seen on, like, Facebook, I follow so many Disney blogs and whatever, just lists of ones that are coming out by 2025, and it's crazy.
It's almost too much.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, and I think I remember, and I don't know if any Disney freaks are going to listen to this, and maybe I'm very wrong, but that a couple of years ago, Disney was almost going into, like, a deficit or something because they were producing so much too quickly, and they were I mean, not that they would ever really struggle with money, but... Well,
I just heard that 3 of the biggest flops this year were, like, Disney movies.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. And they can probably afford...
But they have really great hits that, you know...
They can afford to flop.
Yeah. Do you think Disney movies are better than they were, like, with regards to animation, story, characterization, message-wise? In particular, I want to talk about, like, since we are going to deconstruct The Little Mermaid a bit, not kind of in a funny way.
Yeah.
The things I want to talk about are kind of dumb and don't really have much merit. But I want to talk about, like, looking at the princess movies in the Renaissance to the more modern ones. I think they call it the post-Disney. I can't remember what they call it. But Renaissance to anywhere from 2009 to now.
Oh, okay.
Versus that. Do you think the animation's better? Do you think the stories have gotten better? The characterization? Message?
Well, since we are going to be deconstructing The Little Mermaid, I watched it last night, and it's been a while since I've really watched any classic Disney movie and, like, that animation. And even the animation between The Little Mermaid, which was 1989.
Yeah. From,
like, Snow White, which was the 50s or something. It's, like, different.
Different, yeah.
But
the way they animated them being in the sea, like, that in itself is just so hard, and there's, like, constant bubbles, and I was watching it yesterday as well, and I'm just, the animation on this is tops. It's really good, and it makes you nostalgic for the 2D animation style.
I do, so watching those, I'm like, you would never see something like this again, like, and it's nostalgia, like, exactly that. And I feel like even if they tried to do something like that again, people would be like, this is, like, it would never be like that.
They kind of
even
did
the sound.
With Foley's.
Quality.
Okay.
You can, like, obviously notice the difference, but I don't know.
Do you think it was better in
No, but it just... It's nostalgia, I don't know, it just fits that.
That's not something I picked up.
Or like the way the mouths moved, you know?
True, it's much more realistic now.
But I still appreciate both.
Story-wise...
Oh yeah, story.
They're fine, I think, for the most part, but maybe it's because we run out of stories to talk about. It all seems pretty repetitive. Disney still does pretty simplistic stories in a sense. If you don't count things like Inside Out, I think was a really interesting take on...
Was that Disney or Disney Pixar?
That was Disney Pixar. Okay. Do you separate it?
No, I don't. People do. People get very angry about that. So I was just clarifying, and I was going to mention, but I didn't want to because of this reason, was Coco. And I can't remember if that was Disney or Disney Pixar. But
I don't know either. It's probably Pixar. It feels like Pixar.
Either way, I loved that movie.
Fantastic movie.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that at Disney World they do a ride at the Mexico Pavilion based on that.
And I think because Coco feels like a different story that they haven't really touched on, but maybe they have. It's about family. It's about it felt like a different story to me, and I was like, I was in it.
I liked that, and I was impressed. Like I thought it was really well done. So that was one that came to mind when you asked that question.
And I think characterization's probably gotten better. I was just like looking back on watching The Little Mermaid, just being like, you don't have much going on. You're frustrated because you're 16 and you want to kind of discover something new.
Yeah.
That's kind of where she falls, and it is a little bit of like metaphor in the sense she's trying to maybe find her own voice when she doesn't have her voice. Who is she without her voice?
Yeah.
But I think I'm putting too much deep thinking into that. I don't think they were necessarily trying to get that across.
Right. Even watching The Little Mermaid, I noticed that the storyline is so simple. In most things nowadays, it's like two things going on.
Yeah, this one was one thing.
It was one thing, one kind of main story, and not even really much going on the sides at all.
No B-plot.
No, so it was very simple.
1989. And I think message-wise, probably gotten better to a certain extent. Yes,
I think so.
I was a little disappointed in Frozen, if I'm honest. Just, like, I get the whole, it wasn't about true love between, like, Hans. Is his name Hans?
Hans, yeah.
No, Kristoff.
Kristoff, Hans was the
evil one. And it was just about, like, sisterly love and all that stuff, and I love that. But they also still fell into their old pitfalls of, she still fell in love with Kristoff within, like, 3 days. I don't know why it feels like always 3 days or something.
It's something like that.
It was them trying to, I think, do something new, but they also were just playing it very safe at the same time.
You know what one disappointed me?
What?
And this might be a very unpopular opinion. Moana.
I was fine with it as well.
And I think a lot of people do, and I think it's nice, and I like the music. I'm kind of upset with myself for being disappointed, but I think it was the first time I realized that all the storylines are the same.
She was a little more like self-discovery.
Yeah.
Which didn't necessarily happen in the older princess movies. Yeah, it was fine, and most of the music I was okay with. It wasn't all like hits.
Yeah,
but
I liked how, I guess when you say that, the only one I know, or How Far I'll Go.
Yeah,
I like
that's
that.
like the main one. That's like, it's Let It Go.
I like the Alessia Cara version.
I haven't heard that one.
That's nice.
So I'll have to. Yeah, so I've been a little disappointed. I really like Tangled.
Tangled, yes.
Tangled felt pretty good. I haven't seen The Princess and the Frog.
Me neither.
Yeah, that was like the last like classic 2D animation one, and I should see it because like their 2D animations probably come so far, right?
Yeah,
that it probably looks really good.
I can't remember if I.
And so I should definitely see it. So we are going to talk about The Little Mermaid. Such an easy, I think, low-hanging fruit, maybe.
Yeah.
Because it is one of the older ones. It was the start of the Renaissance period. Actually, it was the first movie. I did a little bit of tiny Wikipedia research, so you know I'm an expert.
Okay, good.
But yeah, came out in 1989. Box office wise, it's had a couple re-releases. One of the ones they re-released it when Anastasia came out, which is totally a shady move because Anastasia is actually a pretty decent like movie that wasn't done by Disney. But everyone thinks it is Disney. I guess kind of it is now because Fox is owned.
I was going to talk about that actually. Okay, actually, there's one thing I want to talk about first.
Yeah, go for it.
So yeah, all these things that Disney has acquired like in the last decade, like I don't know, now they have so many things. Yeah, 21st Century Fox, which means The Simpsons. I don't even know what else. That's the only one I can remember.
Everyone talks about X-Men.
Yes, Marvel, I mean Star Wars, all those things that are old news now. But my question to you is the Disney Plus, their kind of version of Netflix.
The streaming.
Is that something you would do?
I mean, I don't even do Netflix.
Okay.
My sister pays for Netflix.
Yeah.
I don't know if at this point she stopped paying for Netflix, if I would buy Netflix. I probably would, because it is like how I watch TV, and it is mainly through Netflix. Would I get Disney Plus? Probably not. Maybe because I don't have this kinship towards Disney, but you don't even have the kinship towards the like movies.
Yeah.
But they are coming out with like a lot of new stuff, and I get that. I'm not huge on Star Wars. Is fine. I've come to accept it for what it is. I had to do a deep dive into like A New Hope, and I gained a little more respect for it, but I don't ever go see the Star Wars movies in the theaters. I just wait until they're on Netflix.
Yeah.
But they probably won't be now.
No, it's all disappearing.
I don't think I will, but who knows?
Yeah.
Because they are also coming out with the Loki series
And even
like
there's so much
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
And they're doing a lot.
And National Geographic will be on there.
Oh.
Like that's Disney now.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that.
Yeah, see all these things that I didn't even think of. That's why I'm like thinking about more that you would never associate with Disney will be on there, and I need to look into more of what that is. But
is that going to change National Geographic? Is it going to become more Disney-fied? Or are they going to keep it like it is?
I don't think so, because Disney also has their Disney Nature series.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, which every Earth Day, or Earth Month, April, they come out with a new documentary. This year it's penguins or something.
Just penguins?
I can't remember, yeah. They usually follow some sort of animal. They've done really well with that, and it's not Disney-fied at all. I guess that's,
I guess
subjective.
It's hard to Disney-fy nature.
Yeah, well, I mean, unless you animate them and, give them personalities.
That's true.
Okay, another controversial topic was, have you seen Love, Simon?
I haven't.
Okay.
I want to. I've heard great things.
So, because I guess the thing was Disney hasn't been very open about including LGBTQ kind of plot lines in there.
Beauty and the Beast,
Yeah.
like their whole gay plot line, that was nothing.
Yeah. So when Disney acquired 21st Century Fox, which was who did Love, Simon, there was this like big thing about what are they going to do about those kinds of things, like that representation. And apparently, I saw like an article title again. I didn't look into it. That said that they do have plans for that, so we'll see what that is.
Because I think the worry is when they buy Fox, does that cause things to become more monetized? Is it all going to feel the same?
Yeah. Well,
X-Men's obviously going to take on the tone of the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Which I'm like fine with, because then that makes it feel like they're going to make cohesive like they've been doing with all their Marvel stuff, and that's fine. But you're afraid that like, is everything going to feel like a Disney movie when you want something different? And if they own all these things, because Star Wars kind of takes on a similar kind of Disney feel a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm sure they know that they can't just do that, or people will just get sick of maybe everything that's coming out in theaters, and that could hurt them in the long run. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm not a producer or anything like that. And I'm no high up, so they know what they're doing, I'm sure.
Hopefully.
If anyone listening to this has not seen The Little Mermaid, I'm going to give like a 2-sentence plot.
So, Ariel, 16-year-old mermaid princess, is dissatisfied with the underwater life in the kingdom of Atlantica and is fascinated by the human world. She falls in love with the human prince and trades her voice for legs in order to win his heart. There are consequences to this.
That is basically
yes.
my rundown. So, I actually want to know, where does The Little Mermaid rank on your like Disney Princess Greatest list?
She's probably pretty up there.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like her for no reason at all. I think that just feeling-wise, I think she's probably in the top 4. 4 or 5, yeah.
I like you went 4.
Top 4, not even top 5.
Dan doesn't do 5s or 10s.
Only even numbers. 10.
10 is fine.
Yeah.
I spoke too soon. I think it's changed a little bit where she lies for me. Although I did find her, watching her yesterday, she's endearing a little bit, and I do enjoy, she's got some kind of quirkiness going on, and she's like, as she's discovering the human world. But I think as a kid, she was probably my favorite. But as I got older, I'm all like, I don't love maybe your obsession with the superficial.
Yes.
And
okay, see, I don't think about these things.
Kind of her like acting out a little bit, and I'm all like, you lived under the sea. That shit looked great.
Yeah.
Like, it looks way better than the human world. So there was a lot of.
So now you're being like her though, because you live on land, and you're like, I want to go to the sea.
I think I'm more. I don't want to be in the sea, but I think the movie misses a big opportunity to really delve into a new world that we could get lost in by focusing on the human world, which we all know about, making it like almost look like it's the most desirable thing to be a human. We love ourselves, basically.
Yeah.
So I think they touch on it. Have you seen the second one?
I mean, yeah, but
I think I watched that one a number of times when I was younger too. It's literally just the reverse storyline. Her daughter wants to go to the sea, but doesn't know that mermaids exist, and it's this whole thing. And so I'm probably like Melody. Her daughter's name is Melody. Lame name. Sorry to all the Melodies out there. So she's kind of fallen a little bit, and a lot of people rank her really high, or even just the movie in general rank it really high. I think that they've come out with better ones for the most part.
There's been so many things.
There's been so many, and I think like things like Treasure Planet.
Yes.
Don't get the recognitions they do, while like something like The Little Mermaid, I'm like, it was good, and the animation's great, and the songs are great, but I don't know if it needs to be held in such esteem, and I think it's just nostalgia attached to it.
Right.
So, I don't know even, I'll still say top 10, but like probably in the lower
Interesting.
ends of it. I haven't looked at a list, I didn't make a list of that kind of thing.
Can't say I have a list either.
And we're just talking like Disney princesses though.
Okay. Yes.
So, maybe a little closer to 5, because we are just talking about Disney princesses. There's some Disney princesses, I'm like, oof. Not great. So I do have it kind of broken down into like actual real world maybe topics. Both Eric and Ariel are very obsessed with looks, or that only seems to be their driving factor initially, and they fall in love within 3 days. I'm going to touch upon that now. I'll save that till the end because it's like very feminist of me, I think. So I do want to know though, what is the class system among the marine animals? Because King Triton in the beginning.
Oh, it's going in this direction.
It is. King Triton, like in the beginning, is when he's entering the his daughter's singing part. He's like riding a sea chariot and it's being pulled by dolphins, and then Sebastian is being pulled by fish. So where is this marine life hierarchy? And are these dolphins and fish, are they servants or slaves, or is this just the like taxi driver / chauffeur component of a job?
Yeah, maybe they submit applications.
It's probably an honor to pull King Triton around.
Probably. Or, just be based on size of creature.
Dolphins are pretty big, though.
They are, but that's what I mean. Like, they need to pull King Triton, but picture dolphins pulling Sebastian.
I guess. But, like, why is Sebastian, like, I guess because if it is a job they want to do, Sebastian to me, it's like, why is he higher than two goldfish? Like, why is he being pulled around?
He's a conductor.
I also noticed they take heavy stock in music in the Under the Sea, because he's like praised for his conductorness, being a conductor, and he's been working his whole life for. And really, the only thing anyone cares about Ariel, like they don't really talk about her looks except for like when it comes to like Eric being attracted to her. It's her voice they care about. And then obviously all of his daughters sing kind of in Under the Sea, that musical production. Like they're all able to play some form of instrument.
All of them, yes.
And I'm like, where is they stress music above all, which is kind of nice. But where else are these jobs? Is it just music? Is that all they care about? Where is their economy? I don't understand.
Yeah, that's true. You don't really see that side of things. But I do appreciate the music. They're dancing too. Did you notice?
Oh, like during the Under the Sea song? Yeah. No,
it's very good. Like, I love that there's a line of like rainbow fish that kind of do like a fun line dance thing. So I was appreciating all those kinds of things. Interesting. Interesting thoughts. Can't say I had those while I was watching the movie. But it's true. I
also want to touch upon, it looks like there has to be some kind of fish schooling, because it looks like sharks can't, I guess, there's schools of fish, but sharks, the one shark we see never like utters a word, but like you have like Flounder, who doesn't seem like the brightest fish, and like Scuttle, he's able to talk. I'm like, where's the schooling in here? Are sharks just like not allowed to learn to speak?
That's what I had the same thought too. I thought that it was kind of like I felt bad a little bit for the shark to be portrayed this way.
Well, maybe he like could speak, but he was just so devoted to the hunt.
Yeah, probably like
that but even when he like loses the hunt, he just growls. It's almost like he's a feral being. And they like maybe sharks are so outcast and they're just misunderstood. Yeah. That's where the story is, right there.
There's another story in there. Yeah, the scene kind of reminded me of the one in Finding Nemo. Like the same kind of thing happens in a boat.
Right.
Like, I was picturing it that whole time, and they can talk.
Yeah.
In there.
So I'm like, what is this oppressive, like, King Triton, like, nonsense? Where's this school? Is it only in Atlantica? And
they're not allowed in.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a bunch of fish that aren't shown talking, but I just assume they can talk. Yes. They're just there to, like, play music. Because you can't have voice actors for all these fish. So I wasn't sure, like, these dolphins that are pulling King Triton, can they talk?
Yeah, good question.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I guess that's where, before I was saying about the storyline, this would have been all something we could have explored.
Yeah. I want to know more.
It's very simple.
About Atlantica. And I'm not saying it has to resemble our... Because I would get very bored if it just resembles the human world. I want to know what is their... Maybe they don't have a class system and I'm just...
Maybe.
Seeing it through that viewpoint. But I mean... it looked very much like serpentry. Oh, I also wanted to point out, I'm like, what if, because you know how Disney's kind of all connected. I know it's really like Pixar movies that are all connected. Everyone has these theories.
Oh, all the little pieces within them.
Yeah, like the whole Captain Hook killed Ariel's mom.
Oh. Okay.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Although, technically, Marvel is Disney. I just think King Triton is just an old version of Jason Momoa's Aquaman.
Oh, interesting.
It doesn't line
Yeah,
up.
I'm not familiar with Aquaman very much, so I cannot.
I haven't seen Aquaman, but he's of both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
He is technically the king of Atlantis, and he talks to the fish.
Does he?
And he rides the fish, like the sharks and everything. So it seems like maybe this is just Aquaman, but King Triton. There's just similarities. That's
interesting, yeah.
Do you watch much anime?
No.
Okay. Okay, do you know the trope of how all the characters, their face is relatively the same, like drawing-wise? It's really the only thing that separates them are their hair and their hair colors?
Yes, I can see that.
I don't know if you noticed, but basically all of Ariel's sisters, I think, are the same face and same body type.
Yeah.
But the only difference is their hair
color.
And then their fin and like shell color and stuff like that. It just made me think, I'm like, ooh, but obviously animation is expensive, and it was probably very much like easier, and they're in the movie for like maybe a total of, I'll give them 5 minutes. That's generous, I think.
Yeah.
So I get them not like putting a lot of differences among them, but I was just like, it was a copy paste thing here, and they just changed their hair.
I did have a similar thought when I saw them. I was thinking about their looks and their different hair colors being sisters. It was interesting. But maybe that's a mermaid thing. Going off topic a little bit, but
that's what this podcast is about, going off topic.
Prince Eric, and he doesn't have any lip color. Did you notice that? Which I know that maybe when you put on, especially 2D animation,
it looks like they put
lipstick on, but it just bugs.
It's just the line,
it just
probably,
has
right?
lines and like a little bit of dimension, but
I feel like that's most of the princes.
It is for sure, but that was something I noticed, and I needed to mention it.
Yeah, he just
has
bland.
Like that.
No mouth. A sailor cut off his lips one time. Mermaid sex education. Because here's my thing. When do they have it? How do mermaids have sex? Is Ariel's natural scent fishy?
Good question.
And when she's turned into a human, does she lose that fishy scent? That's my thing. I'm like, it would seem like that would be a natural scent. Super important that I touch upon that. Because I actually wanted to look into what, obviously, because mermaids aren't real. I don't, I'm talking about this as if they're real. They're not, and I know that. But unicorns are, so it's fine. There was an article online, and there was a marine biologist who had their take on if mermaids had sex, what would that even mean? And so I have this little thing.
Oh, I'm excited.
Okay, so it's this guy, George Parsons. He's director of fishes at the Shed Aquarium in Chicago. So he was trying to take mermaids and say, what's their half fish component? Obviously, they're half human. What's their half fish component? And he, based on the shape of their tails, they're most likely pelagic fish.
Okay, that's a type of fish?
Yes.
Okay.
So the mermaids and the mermen would all have a slit, halfway down their fin, and from which they would release the egg and the sperm, respectively.
Interesting.
So there is no, obviously, merdick, merman dick out there. Oh, and so they have the slit, and then pelagic fish have orgies about 3 or 4 times a year.
This is real?
Yeah, this is real. So he's saying, mermaids will probably have these orgies. And so at these orgies, both of them, the female would release their egg, and then the males would swim up alongside them and release the sperm. And then the baby mermaids would be a kind of larval for a while, and they would be in this water column that would morph into mer people.
Okay.
So they're not even gestating within the...
So there's really no physical interaction between the fish?
Not really.
It's done outside the...
Yeah.
Oh. So that's interesting, because is it even pleasurable? I don't know.
I don't know. Not all of the baby mermaids would live, because as we know, not all fish live because of predators. So even Ariel having 6 sisters is crazy. And that also brings back to the point, are they all technically from the same mom?
Yeah, we don't know that.
We don't. I mean, they had Ariel's beginnings, which touches upon Ariel's mom, but I didn't watch that.
Neither. Yeah, I don't know.
So I have no idea if they touched upon that, but that would, make sense with all these different fin colors if it was just one big orgy.
It's true, yeah, and it was just a random, just like, what's she gonna get kind of thing.
And I always felt like Ariel was kind of favored by Triton.
For
and I'm not sure if that's just because the movie's about her.
Yeah.
But maybe King Triton liked her mom more than the other moms if they are in fact from different mothers.
She also had the nicest voice, right? The prettiest voice.
It's true.
So I think he took pride in that and like, you know, showing it off to the kingdom.
It's true, because the kingdom clearly thrives on music. That's their economy right there, is music.
It is. The other question I had was, why is it called The Little Mermaid? Is she the youngest?
She is the youngest.
At 16?
Yeah.
Okay.
But if it was all happening at one of these orgies, is she only the youngest by like seconds?
Yeah.
She morphed into
so
baby Ariel.
I guess when you're little, 16 is older, but you're also not really paying attention to the age. But like now when I watch it, I still don't think of her as like 16.
What do you think she is?
Like,
what kind of age do you put to
like
her?
In her 20s.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because, I mean, so much happens when she's 16. And she falls in love at 16.
That's classic Disney.
It is. You're right.
She's also on the older side of Disney princesses, I feel like. A lot of them are like... Maybe they are 16. But, you know, I think like Snow White was 14. That's just like reflective of the day and age for sure. And then like Cinderella's probably younger.
You're right. See, and I never think about that. I never think about the ages of these princesses because I always just picture them like as older women almost.
Yeah.
Like in their 20s.
Well, it doesn't help that even just when you have live action TV shows.
And they're all played by them.
They're all played by like 30-year-olds. And so they look older. And for a 16-year-old mermaid, again, I don't know how they like puberty happens for them, but she looks fully developed.
She does,
at 16, and that's not really a thing. So you would think 20, or that's like where we feel comfortable associating her age with.
It's true, yeah.
So, and like they hardly ever talk about the age of the princes.
Yeah,
because that's not important apparently, because they can just marry whenever they want. It does not matter, and whoever they want. Okay, one of the biggest adjustments that obviously is not touched upon because it is a child's like movie is not only does she have like legs, she has to like deal with a vagina. So obviously if there is a slit in mermaids, it's maybe not that weird, but she is also expecting Eric to have a slit. She has no idea. Ursula does not prepare her at all for this. Also, it was only 3 days that she was up there, but who's to say she wasn't going to have her period during that time? She literally thought she would have been dying. You have to deal with a vagina for the first time when it comes to sex. She's like, we're not just like close to each other. And then she's dealing with pregnancy. I don't know. That's the story I want.
This was all missed. I think that maybe they need to do like an adult version of these things.
I think so.
I guess, we have the Little Mermaid and then stuff goes on and then by the time we see her again, this has all happened.
This has all happened.
And we have no idea. Leaves us hanging. Us older viewers especially, who still appreciate these things.
Here's my thing with Ursula's magic. Maybe she just omitted the vagina altogether so that Ariel didn't have to deal with that. It's all very confusing, and her like having to learn how to use legs, should have taken longer than it did. Let's face it, like people who have nerve damage done and they have to relearn how to like walk and stuff like that takes way longer than the 30 seconds it took for her. But I just like, does Ursula know enough about the human anatomy to have added all that, or does the magic take care of that?
She's an octopus.
Yes.
So yeah, she probably doesn't even know about Ariel's.
Yeah. I'm just like, this magic is real good to deal with that.
She's an expert.
That's my thing. That's what I'm thinking about when I'm watching The Little Mermaid.
This podcast is definitely different than what I was expecting.
Because I'm weird, basically. Okay, one of the most unrealistic things about the movie, hands down, is Ariel's a redhead, and she's also lived under sea for most of her life. She comes up to the surface, is never pictured sunburnt the whole time.
Okay, so, I'm going to pull out my book here because there's something in here.
About that? Seriously?
Not that, but about her hair color.
Okay.
So...
It's not just red.
Yeah, I have a book here that I just got recently.
You're just waiting for the perfect time to
pull
it out. And I was doing this weird class system and talking about mermaid sex education.
So, here. Here. It says Ariel's useful voice from voice talent Jodie Benson. and long red hair set her apart from previous princesses. So then it says, deciding the color of her hair caused much discussion among the Disney artists, as there was concern that red hair wouldn't appeal to audiences.
No, I could see that though, because
but-
they would probably just go with like blonde or brunette. So it was a good choice though, because it sets her apart from all the other princesses.
So her being sunburnt because she's a redhead?
Yes. She also does not experience a lot of sunlight. So my thing is, do mermaids, I don't know, filter sunlight differently?
Essentially, what does our friend say about that? Doesn't touch upon that?
No, he did not touch upon that. That was not a question.
I guess we don't know enough about mermaids.
Yes, these fictional. I want to know more about these fictional beings, clearly.
My book doesn't say anything about that either. Sorry.
I kind of miss Disney's, like, random live-action movies that had nothing to do with... Like, you have Flubber, you have Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Like, those are some weird, very, like, 80s, 90s movies that we don't really get anymore. Because they're doing live-action, it's the remakes now. I wanted to know, so Ursula, it's mentioned, she was kicked out of the palace. What was Ursula's job in the palace? My thing is, she's got these magic contracts. Is she, like, kind of the underwater... She was, like, the underwater palace lawyer? Because here you have her having these magic contracts that clearly can't be broken, probably because of magic, but is it also because of her uncanny way around the law, undersea law? Because King Triton just signs his life away, and he's like, yep, taking those consequences. He's literally the, like, most powerful being in underwater life, and he can't do anything about it. So my thing is, was she a lawyer?
She's a lawyer.
Yes.
That would make sense.
Decided.
I think so.
I kind of like that. And then she also just had magic.
When was it mentioned that she was in palace? Or kicked out of the palace?
I think the first time we, like, are introduced to Ursula, she's talking to her two eel
and she says something about
and she talks about, like, being kicked out.
Okay. This is a lot to digest. Like,
one, she's a lawyer.
I was not prepared for these conversations.
That's what I bring.
I think I'm gonna have to come back for like a part 2 of this and have gone into deep research and thought about all these things and then write my own, like kind of story about all this.
Yeah.
I think growing up though, like I never watched Disney movies and really thought about like the love story very much.
I can't say I probably didn't either. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't remember there being like, oh, I really wish this prince or I could be saved. Like that was never a complex I had. Yeah, it's probably not as harmful as I think. Maybe it is, but maybe it is.
Nowadays it would be because kids are more aware of it because of
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see like myself again watching it younger. Like I want to know. I want to remember the thoughts I had. I think I just like
the colors and the music and stuff more than like the story.
It's kind of probably what I was digging about it too.
It's hard for me to remember what I was thinking.
Because I do like the Disney side of you where you intern for them for 2 summers, and so you have like this weird inside look of things that people don't really think about behind the scenes, and just your love for Disney comes from a different place, which I think is very interesting and cool. While most of people's like love for Disney is the movies, and then they go down to like Disney World, but I think it's yours very much.
Yeah, most people like have no idea about like the Disney parks. Like if they haven't ever been there, or if they haven't been there since they were a kid, and they just kind of think, oh, I would never want to go there again because it's for kids, and it's tacky, which in my opinion. And I think my opinion's the right one, is that it's like the opposite of tacky. Like I just think it's done so well, and it's people actually when I worked there have complained that it's not more about Mickey Mouse. They're like, often people would. I remember one time a woman actually coming up when I was working there saying like, what happened to Mickey? Like, why isn't this about Mickey anymore? Like being upset that he's not so prominent everywhere. But I think the parks have become more about transforming into these places that you wouldn't be, whether it's just time periods or movies. Like the Magic Kingdom has all these lands, like they have Main Street, which is kind of like the turn of the century era. Then there's like Tomorrowland, which is more sci-fi. Fantasyland, which is all the fantasy things. Frontierland, Adventureland, all those things. And it's just like they take so much pride in their design and theming, which is what I'm interested in. Yeah. Because my background is landscape architecture, and I really like design. So that's what I appreciate, and I like that would almost be one of my dream jobs.
As you've told me,
Yeah. It's just attention to detail there is so incredible. That's why I love going back, because there's always something different, and like they're expanding
Changing stuff
all the time. So
I think the cool thing about attention to detail, it's unfortunate though, is that not everyone's going to notice it. But if it's done well, and people aren't noticing, it's almost that's when you know you've done it.
Exactly. Because
there will be people who will notice it, and that really, I think, sets the experience probably apart.
And they will close things. For example, I worked in attractions, and there are some cases where at certain attractions they might have specific animatronics within those attractions where if it's not working, they'll like shut down the ride, because to them that's more important. The guest experience is more important than just having that open. They actually operate on something called the 4 Keys Basics, which you learn about. So when you get hired at Disney, you go through Disney University, like that's the training. It's like called traditions. It's safety, courtesy, show, and efficiency in that order. Like safety's first, show, safety, courtesy, show, efficiency.
Because usually efficiency for most companies is number 1.
Yeah, efficiency is last. They don't want to just get people through to get it going. Like obviously safety's first, courtesy is second, like you're always courtesy to the guests, and then the show has to be top before things are efficient, basically. So
so that's going to conclude this episode of Disney Talk with Dan. Thank you for coming, Dan.
Thanks for having me. That was fun. You
just listen to all of my random political social commentary.
I feel like I'm going to be thinking about a lot now anytime I watch these movies.
That's so you're going to see it through my lens.
You
can follow us on Instagram at Nudity Podcast. You can also listen to us on iTunes or PodBean. I'm still working on getting us on Google Play. And you can also email us at nuditypodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Bye.